Well, hello again. I have just finished my South Australian Outback adventure, and wow, what an adventure it has been. I started out in Mount Gambier because I wanted to go and see the Umberson Sinkhole and the Blue Lake, and both were absolutely amazing. I stayed at a free camp probably about 20 k's out of town called Lake Leak, and that was a really nice little camp there. Actually, it's a donation camp, and I did leave a donation. My next destination was to the Flinders Ranges, but before I got there, I went and spent a week with Leah and Aidan from Fantastic Oz. They showed me all around their area. They were absolutely amazing hosts, told me of many great things to go and see in the Flinders. And while I was there, we even went for a drive up near the Flinders, as well as Magnetic Hill. Yep, Aidan took us over to Magnetic Hill. That was really fun. I then went into the Flinders. I spent 2 weeks there. Oh my goodness, what an absolutely stunning place that is. No matter where you go in the Flinders Ranges, there's something different to see. I will definitely be back. I only just scratched the surface. It was truly amazing. I've fallen in love with South Australia, actually. So I spent 2 weeks in the Flinders Ranges before heading off again to my next stop. So my next stop was Maralinga. That's something that has been on my bucket list for a long time. So I booked the tour to get to Maralinga because you can't go there without pre-booking. So I got there the day before, camped there overnight, did the tour, and then you leave the following day. It's my first big trip on the Outback roads. So that was my little practice run. That was 100 kilometres of dirt road. It was not bad, very corrugated, but I just lowered my tyre pressure and all good. Maralinga itself, absolutely amazing. Great history lesson. I thought one atomic bomb went off, but there wasn't. There was hundreds of atomic bombs went off there, testing for all sorts of things. So that was a real eye-opener. Then I left there and I headed back east again. So from Maralinga, I headed to Woomera, because I was going to cut through to Coobapedy, but people said, oh, if you've been to Maralinga, you really should go and see Woomera as well. So I went there, and I didn't know that Woomera was just a RAAF base. I thought it was an actual town, but it's not. It's an RAAF base with a town, not a town with an RAAF base. So that was interesting. I learned a lot there, and I thought, you know what, while I'm here, keep driving. So on the spur of the moment, I decided to keep heading north. I went to Roxby Downs and then on to Andamuka, an opal mining town. So that was really interesting. I do have separate videos on all of these places if you'd like to see them. So this is just an overall of where I actually went, so you can get a little map out and follow me around. Then from Andamuka, I headed south again, back down to Pimba and into the middle to Coobapedy. I decided to spend 2 weeks in Coobapedy. I dropped the camper down at a free camp so that I'd get around town. I actually did a tour there. It was just a spur of the moment thing. I thought, you know what, I'm in town, let's go do the tour. I'd seen it on another YouTuber, so I thought, I'm going to do that. I'd go to places where I probably wouldn't have thought to go. So I did that, and then actually I fell in love with Coobapedy as well. It's not as big as I thought it was. For some reason I thought it was this big bustling town in the middle of nowhere, but it's actually quite small. But it's the gateway to where I wanted to go on my next bucket list item, which was Oodnadatta. So I got out to Oodnadatta, out to the Pink Roadhouse. So that's something I've wanted to see for so long. And that was the start of my Oodnadatta track trip. So, did I say that right? Oodnadatta track trip, yes. So I went from Oodnadatta down to William Creek, where I spent a couple of nights there at the pub campground. Then on to Maree. The road from Coobapedy to Oodnadatta, absolutely amazing. The road from Oodnadatta to William Creek, really good. The road from William Creek to Maree was totally chewed up, just from everybody driving on it when it was wet, when the road was closed, but they continued to go on there. Now it's chopped up really, really badly. You can still get through in a four-wheel drive. You'd probably risk it a bit doing it in a two-wheel drive until they've graded the road, but it's doable in a four-wheel drive. Then from there, I thought, you know what, I'm heading down to Farina. The bakery at Farina is only open for 3 months of the year when they turn the underground ovens on, and the bread there is just so good. I ended up spending $70, but I got so much for my money. It was absolute amazing value. Some things I put in the freezer, some I ate fresh over a few days. It was just fantastic. Like, I got cream buns and meat pies and bread and rolls and finger buns, all sorts of stuff. I was a real little piggy, actually. But you know what? It's just a once in a blue moon sort of thing. So I thought, I'm going to do it. Farina was really nice. It's a little ghost town. So a lot of old buildings there, old ruins to have a look at. Fantastic campground. And yeah, so I spent a night there, and then it was time to get off the Oodnadatta track and get onto the Birdsville track. So I got on the Birdsville track, started off absolutely fantastic. So far, all of my travelling, apart from going out to Maralinga, I haven't had to lower my tyre pressure at all. The dirt roads have been absolutely amazing. Yeah, I was quite surprised. So I did a night at the Clay Wetlands for on the Birdsville track, because I wanted to see the hot spa there. So I jumped in the hot spa, but it was a little bit, how you going? So when I jumped out, I went and had a shower. But yeah, from there I headed up to Mungareni, and the road was still absolutely fantastic right up to Mungareni. Stayed there for 3 nights while I worked, and then I headed off to Birdsville. The road from Mungareni to Birdsville, terrible. When you're on the flats, it's fantastic. You can get up to 80. Well, other people probably get up to 100, but 80 is enough for me. But once you get to those floodways, there's water in them, which creates mud either side. My car was absolutely filthy. It's covered in mud. My camper, the front of my camper's all covered in mud. But it was a little bit slippery coming up. But once I got about, I guess, 40 k's, 50 k's past Mungareni towards Birdsville, the road got really good, and it just stayed good from there. So I don't envy the people that are coming up after me, because the road is going to get quite busy. You've got the Big Red Bash coming up, and a lot of people will come down that road, and it's just going to get muddier and muddier. And yeah, not nice. But I've arrived in Birdsville. I'm sitting here at the free camp. So I completed my South Australia Outback trip. It was only a, March, April, May, June, 4-month trip. But I will definitely be back, and I will be going to a lot more places, spending a lot more time. at each place because I won't be on a time limit. But for now, that's South Australia in a nutshell. So happy travels, everyone.